this, and we are recording. Welcome to PacWest Bigfoot, guys. This is David, and before I introduce you to Chris, I'm actually going to just kind of update you what's going on. Thank you guys all so very much for your well wishes. I was sick. I had that diverticulitis stuff. I don't know if you guys know that, but I have to watch my nuts. I have to watch my nuts. That sounded great. I have to watch eating nuts and stuff like
you
that.
have to what?
Yeah, I apologize for that. That just sounded horrible, guys. Anyways, you know what diverticulitis is. You guys can look it up and everything else. It was really painful, and so I'm on some antibiotics and everything else. I'm feeling much better today. I'm about 75% today. But hope you never get it. Just to let you know, first off, Keith out in Ireland and Mr. Brown Dwarf out here in the old Southern Oregon. You guys got your books. I want to say that, your free giveaway, which were books. And just wanted to say thank you guys so very much for getting back to me, and I'm glad you guys appreciate all that stuff. It's awesome. If you're not on the subscriber list, get to PacWestBigfoot.com, and you can subscribe to the clan there. And next month, I have the Minnesota Iceman from William Jevning. It is autographed, and this is going to be one of the last books that I have to give out. So there you go. But that's going to be next month's giveaway, and I will send that out, and I will let everybody know on the 15th, between the 15th and 20th of April, who wins that. And I want to say thank you guys all for being here. God bless you. And let's get into this week's encounter, interview, and story from Chris out in Utah. And this happened up around the Fish Lake National Forest. And Chris, welcome.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. I'm going to sit here and stare into the camera and sway back and forth like a Sasquatch while you share your encounter story with us. So Chris had an actual visual, and he's going to share that with us and kind of lead us up to what was going on that day, give us a real good kind of fill in the blanks up to that point and at that point what you saw. So what were you doing that day, Chris?
I was fishing, and I was hiking around with my best friend, which is a pit bull who goes by the name of D. And that's one of my favorite times going up there, is just me and him. Leave the friends and the girlfriend at home, just me and my boy, and I just love the nature and the outdoors. Mm-hmm. So there's this little pond up there that I like to fish. It's a ways to get to. It's a dirt road about 20 miles back into the mountains. It's not frequented much by people. Mm-hmm. That's why I like going there, because I can take him off his leash and he can be a dog without someone giving me a hard time, mm-hmm. about it. So, we did some fishing during the day, then went for a hike. Then, uneventful day, just like it always is up there. It's beautiful, sunny, probably about 80 degrees. And we got back to camp probably about 5, made dinner. And it was like, a little bit after that it wasn't a little bit, I would say around like 9 o'clock is when we saw it. And the way it went was I had fallen asleep by the table that's in front of my truck what I'll do now is I'll describe the campground the way I had it laid out, because it's kind of important. What I do is I back my truck up the driveway, and then I put my tent behind the truck, mm-hmm. and that's in like a clearing that's in the woods. Mm-hmm. And then I put my campfire kind of like between my truck and the tent. Mm-hmm. And then I put a table out in front of my truck. And that's where I put all my stuff, my grill, my, fishing poles, my tackle box, all that stuff, just so I have like a storage place to eat and, sit and eat and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I had fallen asleep. I woke up about 8, and I kind of panicked because it was getting dark, So ran back to the, back of the truck, and then got the firewood, started making the fire and stuff, got that going. And we were just, chilling by the table. me and my dog, and I can hear something in the woods kind of like rattling around. And I'm not worried at all. I don't feel fear. I don't feel like I'm being watched. I'm totally comfy. I think it's a raccoon or something. Mm-hmm. So we're just sitting there, and he's zeroed in on it though. And I'm looking at him, and I'm wondering, why isn't he going after this? Because usually if there's a little animal on four legs, he chases it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of weird, but I still wasn't nervous about it. You know what I mean? No big deal. So, he's looking out at the forest, zeroed in on something. I'm just sitting there, and I'm eating a oatmeal cream pie. So I take another one, and I flip it out in the woods where I think this thing is at to see if I hear it scurry after it. I don't hear nothing. And then I keep hearing it like it's getting closer. But whatever it is, it sounds small. That's why I'm not worried at all. Well, D runs around me back to the truck, gets on his hind legs, and he starts pawing at the window of the truck. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. And I was like, all right, dude, whatever. So I get up and I start walking towards the truck, and I get to the front of the truck, and I look at his face, and he's looking to my left, and his eyes are as big as saucers, and I can tell he's looking at something. So I glance over my shoulder, and I see someone standing there in a hoodie that looks really big. And I thought to myself, wow, that's all I remember saying was wow. So I grabbed the truck, I opened it up, he jumps in, I jump in the truck, I close the door, I lock the door, and now I'm looking out the windshield at this thing, and it's about 30 yards away. And I would say it's about 7.5 feet tall, has a cone head, about 40 inches wide. I would say it was every bit of 650 pounds. And it didn't have that bodybuilder look of a V. You know what I mean? It was like, it was big, like it hadn't missed a meal, basically. Mm-hmm. He looked well fed. And I'm just looking at this thing, and it's looking at me, or I don't think it'd see me because my windows are tinted, even the windshield, because it gets so hot here in Vegas. That's what we do. Yeah. So I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, I know what I'm looking at. I'm not thinking, is this a person? Is this a bear? No, I know what I'm looking at. I'm like, oh my God, that's a Bigfoot. And so now I start getting scared. And D is he's doing the same thing. He's like in disbelief, it looks like. And, we're just looking at it. And then this is where it starts to come towards the truck, going right, like it's going to run around the table to the driver door. And it took 2 steps, covered probably about 8 yards. It cut on its right foot like an NFL running back, and then it went left, just darted left, about 1 step, and then it hopped over this gully into the woods, and it was gone. Crash, smash, and I heard it go away, and that was it. And I spent the rest of the night in the truck. I would not get out of that truck till the sun came up.
Man, I'm surprised you didn't run over anything in front of the truck and take off.
I did. That's the problem. The whole time I'm looking at my keys and my 9mm on the table that I put out in front of the bench of the truck.
Oh, you left it out there.
Yeah, because I wasn't worried. My dog would get in the truck. I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'll let you in the truck. And when I looked over my shoulder and saw it, I wasn't about to walk 10 yards back and get that stuff.
Yeah, not if that thing can take 2 steps and end up on 8 yards. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was. I would say that knowing what I know now, the way I was just sitting in that chair, just chilling, that it could have been on me without me even knowing it, and tossed me around like a rag doll. It would just no competition whatsoever. Jeez. It was amazing. Yeah, it was.
So
big.
Run through us again a little bit about the description of it. I mean, it was a big thing. It wasn't like It wasn't kind of skinny or lanky. It wasn't even kind of that V shape that we say, like a heavy set kind of thing.
He was heavy set. Yeah, like I said, he is not Mr. McDonald's. Put it that way. He was, about 40 inches wide at the shoulders, had the conical head, big long, big arms, like I don't know, like a gorilla. Like he just smash you if he wanted to hit you with them. Like if he took his forearm and windmilled on the top of my truck, I think it just would have caved in the hood, no problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And his stomach was kind of big. It wasn't like tapered off to this thin waist with a six pack. He was kind of big. And there's no breast except for like a man. He looked like a man. He was definitely male. I couldn't see any other genitalia because it was kind of dark,
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he was massive. But even though he was massive like that, he was still very, very athletic, and it could move.
Wow. How about it was hairy, kind of dark hair? Could you tell anything like that?
It was totally, yeah. It was hairy for sure. I really couldn't see how long the hair was, but you could tell it was hairy. Okay. It's not quite pitch black out there at that time of night, but when I was looking at it, he was about 40 yards, and then when he got to the table, he was about 15 yards. That's when I got the best look at it, and that's when he cut, and I saw him from the side, and that's when I could really tell how big he was in the midsection.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
And I could see some hair on him, not much of a neck. I would say if I had to compare it to something, I would say Patty, 110%.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe a little like more skin in the face than hair.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. Could you see any of the face or get any sort of?
No, I really couldn't. Like I said, because my windshield is tinted also.
Yeah.
And I got the limo tint on my side doors. So I didn't even see eye shine. I almost turned on my headlights in my truck, but I didn't want to spook it. I just wanted it to go away, man. That's all I wanted at this point, because I was just once it ran into the woods, and I'm in my truck, I can't look out the windows because the tint,
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept on thinking of the window breaking and this arm coming and snatching my dog, and mm-hmm. I was horrified the whole night, man. That's the only part that was horrifying, was waiting for that sun to come up and not being able to look out.
Yeah, that would be kind of, that would be really creepy, actually.
It was creepier than hell. And I wouldn't roll down the windows because I figured I was, when you're in that situation, man, all kinds of stuff goes through your head. Everything that you've seen in a horror movie goes through your head. I think I'm going to roll down the window and there's going to be this face right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were stuck in the truck, and thank the Lord above, man, that earlier in the day it looked like it was going to rain, and I grabbed my sleeping bag and the goose down blanket, and I put them in my truck so it wouldn't get wet in case it did rain. Mm-hmm. And we got in the back seat and we cuddled up, and I covered ourselves with that blanket in case something looked in, it wouldn't see us. Plus, it got cold. I didn't have the keys to the truck. I couldn't start it. I was stuck there. There was no way in hell I was opening that door. Thank God for a Gatorade bottle in my truck also.
Couldn't even get out to go pee.
Hell no.
You're just like, nope, I'll just drink that whole Gatorade bottle and fill it back up.
It was empty, but I filled it. I felt sorry for my dog. I think he was looking at me like, come on, man, what about me?
Oh, man. So at first you really didn't feel any sort of danger or anything like that. But once you saw that thing, then there was definite. Did you feel threatened or just fearful? Just because it was just. You think it was just because it was so massive and big?
Yeah, I felt fearful because I knew if it wanted to get in the truck, it could. There's nothing I could do. I was absolutely defenseless at that moment in my life, and that's a horrible feeling. I've never really felt like that before, ever. And that was, I think, the first time where I was in a situation where if that thing wanted to kill me, I was done. There's nothing I could do. Like I said, absolutely nothing I could do, especially after I saw it move.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. Just the sheer power, speed, agility. It was just insane.
Yeah, that's kind of like my friend the Go Man was saying that time. It was just unbelievably fast. He kept saying $6 million man, Dave. You know that.
Oh, I listened to that today. The Goat Man.
Yeah, he even said he was like, it was like just busting up, and I mean that's I could not imagine. I don't know. It's like, these interviews that I hear from you guys is just, especially these sightings like this and how fast it moves and it's just so close to you.
Yeah.
Freaks me out to no end,
Yeah, I know. When I start thinking about it, when, the hair still raises on my body all over, like right now it is, I'm chicken skinned because, like I said, I was just sitting there in that chair, just chilling, man. Like I'm in the woods, man. This is where I belong. Just totally happy, not knowing that this thing at that point would have only been like 20 yards from me because I was at the table, And like I said, when it took those 2 steps and was already at the front of the table, man, if it wanted me, it could have just taken me out.
And so you think it just showed up whenever whenever your dog started kind of making that look?
I think he's seen it. That's the one thing I can think is that he was watching it because their vision is a lot different than ours, especially at night at dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I couldn't even during the day up there. I mean, people think of Utah as a desert, but Fish Lake National Forest, I can take pictures in certain spots up there and show it to people and tell them it's Washington, and they'd believe it.
Yes, exactly. I've seen lots of pictures and stuff like that from people out who have had encounters out there, and it does. I mean, you've got lots of sections of forest of area out there that's forest land. I mean, it's just forest. It's like Oregon. Yeah. It's just forest. So, I sometimes, I ask people, I was like, so what was it like there? And they're like, forest. Just like, okay, yeah, I know that. So
yeah, know that.
Yeah. So interesting. How long do you think it was standing there, just kind of staring at you? Just
when really I would say he was probably there. I would say from the time my dog picked it up, it was probably about 2 minutes.
Okay.
And it was about 2 minutes after he picked it up that he said, "I've had enough of this thing. I want in the truck." And that's another creepy thing that really, really creeps me out is I told you this thing had to be every bit of 650 pounds. I don't know how it moved through the woods like that, sounding like what I thought was a raccoon, at best, And
so it really treaded lightly for such a heavy, big thing.
Yeah, almost like it was probably tiptoeing or something. And obviously, I know it was zeroed in on me or him. Maybe he was looking at him as food. I don't know, man. All I know is that
from what we hear, we know that they don't really them and dogs just don't get along.
Yeah, I've read some stories about that.
Yeah,
and I think one of your game warden guys had a story where they killed his dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's not the only story that I have heard or have sitting in queue in the website about incidents with dogs. I actually have, I think, 2 or 3 other experiences that were sent to me about dogs being killed. And so, maybe it picked up that scent maybe of the dog and figured, okay, there might be a meal here for me, but then noticed you.
Maybe. I don't know, man. All I know is but what's weird is like my dog, he's a 70-pound pit bull that's like probably 1% body fat, and this dog ain't afraid of nothing. And when I mean afraid of nothing, not in a badass way, but in a way of if you're on 2 legs, you're his new best friend. He's got someone to rub the back of his ears and tell him how pretty he is. You know what I mean? And this thing was on 2 legs, and he was, he was scared shitless. I will tell you. Sorry about the language, by the way.
Oh no.
I will say when the thing did take the 2 steps, he did start barking really aggressively, like he was ready to go and defending me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but he went from being really scared, it seemed like, to on the defense. When that thing moved, he started to bark very aggressively, like I've never heard before, actually.
When you guys were in the car there?
Yeah, that was in the truck.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd been like that if we were outside the truck. He probably had running up.
He's trying to get into that car. He's like, I'll be bad from behind the stealing glass.
Exactly.
No doubt. Oh, that is just creepy, man. That is definitely creepy. That's
and
scary.
the creepiest part about it was we're just laying in that truck all night and just having every thought in your mind, wondering, is that thing right outside my truck? And then there's so many times where I wanted to crack the window to see if I could smell it or hear it approach, but I just.
And you couldn't hear anything beforehand? I'm actually looking up Fish Lake National Park. So you couldn't really. Oh yeah, there's a big old lake up there, isn't there, around there?
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, there is. Oh, that's a beautiful place. Look at all that. That is just, it's thick
gorgeous,
forest, guys. This is, I'm actually looking at Google Maps. I'm looking at the pictures there. You got some open area, but then all of a sudden it's just there's thick forested areas that are just, that's absolutely
crazy.
beautiful looking. Beautiful looking. There's a dog in one of these pictures here, guys.
Excellent. Is it a tan pit bull?
No, it's a black lab, I think.
Also, I think I wrote this to you. There's not a doubt in my mind that there's more than plenty of food for these things up there. There's so much deer. You can't drive a mile down the road without seeing a deer. There's hogs, there's turkeys, there's birds, fish. There's anything that those things would need to eat. It's there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just some nice forested areas. I mean, it's beautiful up there.
Yeah, so I can actually tell you, go to if you can find a place called LeBaron Res. That's where I was at.
LeBaron
Reservoir.
There we are, LeBaron Reservoir. And LeBaron Reservoir Campground, Utah.
Yep.
And we're going to go in here, and I'm going to we're going to look at this on the maps there, and we'll take an actual Earth view of that so I can see. Yeah, that's a big old lake there. Here's some photos. Oh, there's a big, huge, like, pond-like thing.
Yeah.
And that's the area.
That's the area, my friend.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah, it's like this. There's like this big open area, guys. It's like pond, but there's this big open area, and then it's just lined by thick trees.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is, they're low-lying like hills and a big pond, open grassy areas, but it's all like encircled by nothing but forest. Yeah. That is interesting. And what side of this lake were you on?
Go ahead. Okay, can you see where you pull in?
Let me see here. Let me go to map again.
When I'm up there, I don't know my north, south, east, and west. I would be. Well, hold on, let me think.
I see where you pull in now when I'm looking at it here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm on that side to the right.
Okay. So you pull in off this road right there off of 137?
Yeah.
Okay, so you come off of 137, turn into the campground there, and you can go off to you can keep going, and it wraps around to the right of the lake, the south part of the lake?
Yeah, I guess that's where I'd be.
Yeah, because it looks like there's a little campground area down there.
Yeah, the whole place is really
interesting.
But it's not. But people don't go to it much. And I've had rangers tell me that I camped up there before, and they'll stop and they'll say, "Hey, we've had a lot of bear reports, so you guys be careful." And I hear that from them all the time when I'm up there, and and that and cougar. I've never seen a bear in 27 years. I've never seen a cougar in 27 years, but I've seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah, I'm looking at this now. Now there's even better pictures when you actually go to the reservoir part, and it's just that's some pretty. Yeah, yep, I see. It kind of wraps around there, and is a road that's like runs right next to the lake or reservoir there, and heads back into the trees where the campgrounds are.
Right.
Interesting.
I've been there since.
Really?
With my friends.
That was actually going to be one of my next questions. So you've been going back there?
Yes, absolutely, with friends and armed. But I didn't tell them because the few people I told, they didn't, they made me feel dumb, and so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna talk about this no more. Screw it. And then I started reading your site, and you guys don't seem judgmental, and just want to get it off my chest, and just.
Yeah, no, we don't. I don't do any of that stuff here. Like I said, I've seen tracks. I've had my own experience. I haven't had a visual like you. My mom's had experiences plus seen tracks. Yeah, I'm a good Christian fella, and I ain't passing no judgment on something like that. That's, people
Cool.
see what people see, and in all of the evidence that I have seen so far. Even if you took all of the stuff that probably isn't true, and let's just say you whittled it down to maybe 10% of the stuff out there has a high probability of being, likely a fact. There's still enough out there to prove it. And there's the scientific data that we have today backs the fact that something like this can and might actually exist. So, like you said, total food supply up there.
Yeah, complete.
So great food supply. I mean, that's number one. It needs to eat, and it can't just live on dog. So there's plenty of. So that's.
If they make horses deer, they have it made. Put it that way.
Yeah. Plus, they got the reservoir there. There's fishing there. There's fish in it.
There's creeks and streams everywhere through that whole place. It's just an abundance of turkeys. Do not believe the amount of wild turkeys that run around that place. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's like here. I actually live in town now. We moved off of the mountain and into town here, and I still have a whole gang of them, like 25 of them, that run up and down the streets here. Not kidding. They come right into my yard,
really?
Up to my window right here where I work. Not kidding.
Wow, that's cool.
We have turkey in our town. I got deer that come out here in our yard. They run up and down the street sometime by the kids.
Do they hang around Thanksgiving time?
Yeah. I thought about it once. I was like, I could go out there and just lay real still and grab one, snap his niggity. I was like, show people what Sasquatch does.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is absolutely. That'd be terrifying, man. To just lay there at night, just can't really move.
Yeah, it was terrifying. I still think about it to this day, man. I feel now that it's over with and I'm okay. I feel blessed by the Lord that I got to see that. And I don't know if some were chosen or picked. I mean, maybe that's going way out there, man. I don't know, but now that I had the experience, I feel lucky. It's just, if I know
that's
what I saw.
How I would, that's how I think most people do feel. It's like, I don't want to see this thing again, but I do feel as though I've been blessed to see it at least once because it's something that most people don't get to see every day.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Maybe I might not ever have that experience again in my life, and I don't want that experience again in my life, but I know the truth now. I know that this can exist, and it expands my belief in what's in the reality that is. And so that for me, I mean, that's kind of why I like to have you guys on here. some people come in here and they're like, man, are you sure you want to interview me? I don't really have much to say. I don't care.
That's what I said.
Say it, say it. I don't care if it's we're just talking about footprints you found, just share. And yours, that was more than footprints. That, so when you got up, before we get done with this whole interview here, when you got up the next morning, was there any sort of visible tracks or footprints or any impressions, anything that you noticed, or did you just pack up and just say, I got to go?
I don't want to sound like a wuss, Dave, but I think I packed up. I packed up my
Nice.
I packed up my camp in about 12 minutes, man. I had everything thrown in the back of my truck in 12 minutes, and I was out of there. When I got to Little Reservoir, which is a very packed campground, that's when I pulled over and got everything straightened out. But when I was up there, it was mainly about getting out of there. But I can honestly say that it was more about my dog. I love my dog, man. He's my best friend, man.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. I lost the best friend with him. No, I ask that question anyways because I know somebody's going to comment and say, why didn't you ask him if he? Well, there you go, guys, because sometimes you just don't want to stick around because you're already freaked out enough. You're already frightened enough. And maybe you're worried about a loved one or a loved one pets, the pet, worried about something. Yeah. So you just want to get to safety. You want to get away and get to safety. And
yeah. You're right.
We asked the question.
I saw what I saw. Yeah, I know what I saw. And at the moment when that sun came up, I really didn't give a damn about collecting evidence for someone else. I cared about getting us out of there immediately.
Yeah.
Just because of what I saw and what I know. Like I said, it could. I think it could have snapped my neck with one hand just by squeezing my neck and twisting its wrist.
That thing sounds massive, man. Like it had a little bit of a belly, or was it just like huge, like just regular old huge?
Think like how like offensive linemen, they're big, but and they're strong and they're bulky, but they're not like fat, but they're just like heavy set.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's what I'm picturing.
That. Yeah, it was like its midsection was heavy set, but yet its arms was ripped. I could tell by the way that they were hanging. Like I couldn't see detail, but by the way that they were hanging and the shape of its biceps and forearms, I'm pretty sure if I saw it in the daylight, its arms would look like there's no fat on them whatsoever. But its midsection, yeah, he had some weight on his midsection. He was not doing his crunches, put it that way.
Body sculpting with the weight loss program. Yeah, that's insane, man.
He was all curls for the girls. You know what I mean? That's all he was about. But he was definitely massive, and like I said,
and you haven't seen anything or heard anything since, even being out there today. No whistling, no snaps, crackles, or pops or anything here and there.
We really haven't. I've only been up to to LeBaron 3 times since then, and all 3 times that we went, it was really, really windy. Mm-hmm. And my friends are like me. We hate fishing in the wind. We just can't stand it. Ask anyone that fishes; they'll tell you they hate fishing in the wind.
No, me too. I hate it, and I love fishing.
Yeah, it sucks. So because when you're up at LeBaron, you're on like top of the hill, and like you get the full brunt of the wind. When you come down to the lower lakes, the mountains block it some, and it's a lot easier to fish. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and
when you said that earlier though, about not rolling down the windows because just because maybe it smelled or anything, did you get a whiff of something earlier? Was there a smell to that or?
No, David, that's why I told you I didn't want to disappoint you, man.
You were just in there. You dove in that car. I don't blame you, man. I'm just wondering if there was some sort of musty residue in the air or something all of a sudden.
No, I was in the car, the windows up, and when I was sitting in the chair, I didn't smell nothing. Usually if he smells something in the air, he puts his nose up, and you can see his nose twitching, and it gets really wet, Mm-hmm. And he wasn't doing that. He would just had like his snout down, and like his eyebrows up, just looking in the forest, like, I see you. That's how D was, And then
Wow.
I think when it got a little too close, that's when he trotted by me, kind of glanced at me like, "Come on, man, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he saved my life, dude. I don't know, but I saw it. It was there was nothing beforehand. There was no smell. There was no fear. There was no sense of being watched. There was none of that.
He was just
I was just
there all of a sudden.
Yeah. I think all I can tell, he was just crouching through the woods, maybe, and when I turned my back, that's when he stepped up. I looked over my shoulder, and all of a sudden there was that dude standing there, as I put it, and yeah.
Interesting.
That's the end of it.
All right. Well, thanks, man, for being on here and sharing that with us, man. Your encounter, and here we don't do that. We don't get judgmental about what people have to say and their encounters or anything like that at all, ever. So, if you have anything else down the road, that you're up there fishing again, you notice something, let us know, share it with us. If you see anything, get any pictures of anything, share it with us. We'd love
I can tell you this.
See that. Mm-hmm.
Since this happened, I have done a lot of research, and I am going to go back up there just solely to do that. I'm going to look for like tree breaks, footprints, structures, stuff like that. Stuff that's out of the ordinary that before I would have completely overlooked. And I think if I keep on looking into this, I think if I go up there, I'll find some stuff, get some pictures, and I'll definitely email them to you. I'm probably going up there in probably July.
That'd be awesome, because I'm one of those guys who I'm not a real big believer in this huge, massive migration where they migrate from Alaska down to Florida for the summer or for the winter. I think that they may migrate from one section to another, maybe sticking to some sort of 200-300 mile radius of an area, but I think they just kind of follow the food in a particular region. And so I think that's what happens there. So personally, that one's probably something that's up there all the time.
Yeah, I would say there's a group up there.
Yeah.
The way I look at it. I mean, I've been up there a million times, and like I think I told you, I think 30, 40, 50 of them can live up there undetected, no problem. It's huge.
It's huge. Yeah, if you guys go to the map and check that out, you'll see what we're saying. It's all forest.
A lot of people don't go up there. I live in Vegas, which is 3.5 hours from this place, and I tell people about it, and they're like, "Where?" But I've learned to quit telling people about it. I don't tell people about it no more because I don't want to get it ruined.
Exactly.
I'll try to keep my mouth shut. But yeah, man.
All right, man.
I definitely.
Well, I want you to hang on real quick before I end this call. I'm going to end the call thing, but I want you to hang on for just a moment here. I want to say thank you guys very much for being on here. And don't forget, get over to PacWest Bigfoot. You guys can sign up for free. Remember, all the content that is here with PacWest Bigfoot, this is all free all the time. I do this for basically donations. That's that, and the AdSense that I run is the only way that I get to feed my kids with this. So just to let you guys know. Other than that, I'm not going to ever have any sort of paid for content on here. I've just decided one day I'm not doing that. So there you go. So if you can donate a little something, keep us going on here. It's awesome. Or if you just want to sign up and be on a list to get some really cool free giveaways. And next month, don't forget, guys, the Minnesota Iceman, signed by William Jevning himself. So I will see you guys on the next encounter story and from PacWestBigfoot.com. God bless you.